Well, here we are again for our third session. And today we're going to see if we can experience soul together. Now, remember, we had two earlier classes. In the first one, we wanted you to take a look at turning off your left brain and turning on your right brain. And I hope you've done your homework, because that will be an essential part of getting into the understanding and the experience of your own soul. You need to quiet the left brain so the right brain can penetrate into those levels of consciousness that we need to go to in order for you to experience what we're wanting you to experience today. And the other part, second leg of that, was the Ho'oponopono. That is calling in the grace that's available to help you to balance the energy that will be released into your life as you become conscious of and begin to cooperate with your own soul experience. This is very, very important. We can't get away from our karma. We can't jump out of our bodies before we're ready. We can't experience the highest and the best before we understand what's in between, because we're already at our highest and best. And the point is the journey. We have to refine our bodies in order to come to these highest levels of consciousness. And that is a function of choice. We have to make the choices that help us to move into the higher levels of consciousness. It's a prerequisite. So hopefully you're in a nice quiet space where you won't be disturbed for the next few minutes. I'd like you to close your eyes and watch your breath. Allow your breath to rise as if it were on a roller coaster and roll down very slowly, and then repeat the process of rising all the time. Now you're taking that left brain, right brain shift. And as the roller coaster of your breath begins to descend, just become very interested in seeing that movement. You're just gently, but very attentively watching your breath rise and fall, very deliberately, in a kind of gentle rolling roller coaster. Become very interested in the flow of your breath. And then bring your attention down towards your gut. This part of your body is called the Dantian area. It's connected with your Swadhisthana chakra. You have 7 chakras, and this is your second one, your Swadhisthana. I'm choosing that one because access to the subtler levels of consciousness is easiest at this point. As you settle into this place, see if your consciousness now, as you relax into it, begins to expand That feeling of expansion or growing is the shift between being associated primarily with your outer consciousness and attuning to your etheric body, which is in alignment with what we call your body intelligence. And we'll go into these different names of your inner bodies as we go along. But today, we're just interested in the experience of riding into your etheric body, feeling the shift of expansion that happens as you tune in to your etheric body. Now, I don't want you to use your imagination. Imagination is useless here. We want you to use your sensing and just move your awareness down your leg, not imagining your leg, but sensing what you can experience here. Now, if your awareness bounces out of this place, then stop the tape and go back to where we began with the breathing and continue the breathing exercise until when you come to this moment of tuning into your inner body and feeling this sense of expansion, it's a practical experience for you. Not your imagination, but your practical experience. Now continue down your leg, sensing your leg as you pass down through it. And as you come to your toes, notice the distinction between your big toe and your second toe. In this awareness, there is a distinction between what your larger toe feels like and the toe adjacent to it. Notice the difference between the toe on your left foot and the large toe on your right foot. Bring your awareness in to that toe, into your right toe, and then to your heel, and then back up the right side of your body. All of this is to give you the opportunity to feel what it feels like to be in your etheric self and moving from this awareness. Come gently up your body. And come into your chest area. Now, the most practical way of experiencing heart here is to go in that whole no-canal experience. Heart is the center of your spiritual being. Heart is always incandescent. at the point that you consciously experience the incandescence of heart is a major stepping stone in the realization of your divinity, the realization of your spirituality, and is the first level, the first concrete level of what we would call enlightenment. So as you come into heart, be with whatever the experience is that's going on in heart. It is unlikely that the of incandescence will be there immediately. But what you can do at this point in your consciousness is to repeat, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and feel what that invocation feels like in heart. I would suggest using a particular time during the day, probably in the morning after you wake up, to just sit quietly with your etheric body at your heart center and focusing in to the experience of what's going on, and then doing that invocation a number of times. Even now, you can feel the expansion of your awareness as your body, as the experience of your body expands. What's happening here is you're becoming aware of how your body experiences itself. The expansion of size is actually the experience of the body knowing itself in the future, in the past, and in the present. That's what this sense of expansion is about. Now, at any point, you can pause the tape and be with this experience for a while. I would highly recommend it, just to become acquainted with what the feeling of being in this essence of yourself is like. Now, as we continue, there is a tendency, of course, to treat this aspect of your consciousness as a kind of cash cow. The whole point of The Secret and so on and so forth was to tune into the energy that is the power in your life. This is exactly what that is. But if you were a foster child and your real parents came to your home and introduced themselves to you, your first question to them wouldn't be, what are my Christmas presents going to be this year? You would want to build a relationship with your real parents. And this is exactly the place where you are now, building a relationship with that within you that is the source of who you are, be it the beginning, the statement of the journey of 1,000 miles begins on the ground under your feet, is precisely where you are now. As you begin your journey into the ever subtler levels of your consciousness, the journey, in fact, begins here, not in your imagination, but in your practical experience of what you actually feel, what you actually experience. And as you allow more and more that sense of connection, that sense of surrender, that sense of forgiveness to take over the moment that you're in, you will experience the deepening of this connection between you and that which you've always been. Enjoy this journey.